Life often teaches us lessons in the most painful ways, and sometimes those lessons are not about our mistakes, but about the unfairness of the world we live in. This is the story of a young black man who believed that in America, the land of opportunities, hard work, education, and determination would be enough to build a future. He thought that if he stayed focused, if he gave his best, and if he kept his head high, he could achieve everything he dreamed of. But what he didn't know was that sometimes society builds walls that are invisible yet stronger than stone. Those walls are made of prejudice, racism, and discrimination. He was born in a small neighborhood where struggle was normal and success was rare. His mother worked two jobs just to keep food on the table, and his father was a man of discipline who taught him that no matter what, education was the key to changing his life. From a very young age, he worked hard in school, staying late in the library, studying while others played outside, dreaming of one day landing a job that would make his parents proud and give them a better life. He believed in the American dream, the idea that anyone, regardless of where they came from, could rise if they worked hard enough. Years passed, and he became the first in his family to graduate from college. His graduation day was one of the happiest moments of his life. His mother cried tears of joy, his father stood tall with pride, and he walked across the stage believing that his journey was only beginning. With his degree in hand and a polished resume, he was ready to take on the professional world. He applied to countless jobs, tailoring his resume for every position, writing thoughtful cover letters, and practicing for interviews. He believed that someone would see his qualifications, his determination, and his passion, and give him the chance to prove himself. Finally, after weeks of waiting, he got a call for an interview at a prestigious company. His heart raced with excitement. He wore his best suit, polished his shoes, and rehearsed answers all night. He knew this was his chance, the opportunity he had worked so hard for. When he walked into the office building, he carried not just a resume, but years of struggle, sacrifice, and hope. The receptionist greeted him coldly, her smile fading when her eyes met his skin color. Still, he brushed it off. He sat in the waiting room, surrounded by other candidates, most of them white, dressed in the same professional attire, holding the same kind of folders. He reminded himself to stay confident. He had worked hard, he had studied hard, and he had every right to be there. The interview began. At first, the panel asked questions about his education, his skills, and his experience. He answered with confidence, giving clear examples of his abilities. But soon he noticed a change in their expressions. Their smiles seemed forced, their eyes carried judgment, and their tone became cold. They asked questions that didn't make sense, questions that seemed designed to trip him up, questions about his background that had nothing to do with the job. He felt the unspoken words in the room, the silent judgment that he was not like them. When the interview ended, he walked out with a strange feeling in his chest. Something inside him told him that no matter how well he had done, he was not going to get the job. A week later, the rejection email arrived. It was the same generic message. "We have decided to move forward with other candidates." He read those words again and again, but deep down, he knew the truth. He was rejected not because he lacked talent, not because he lacked skills, but because of the color of his skin. This wasn't the first rejection, and it wouldn't be the last. He kept applying, kept interviewing, and kept facing the same outcome. Each time he felt hope slipping away, replaced by frustration and pain. He watched his white classmates from college land jobs easily, even when their grades were lower, even when their resumes were weaker. He realized that for him, being black meant carrying an extra burden, a barrier that others did not have to face. He began to question himself. Was he not good enough? Was he doing something wrong? But then he remembered the lessons his father taught him. Never blame yourself for the hate in other people's hearts. Racism was not his failure, it was society's failure. Yet knowing that didn't make it hurt any less. Every rejection email felt like a reminder that the world saw his skin before it saw his soul, his color before his character. He wanted to scream, to cry, to demand justice, but instead he carried the weight silently. He didn't want to show his parents his pain because he knew they had already sacrificed so much for him. He smiled on the outside, but inside he felt broken. One evening, after another rejection, he walked through the city streets watching people rush by. He saw businessmen in suits laughing with colleagues, women in expensive dresses hailing cabs, and students celebrating their success. And he wondered, why not me? Why can't I have the same chance? Why does the color of my skin make me less deserving? As the night grew darker, he sat on a bench and thought about giving up. Maybe he should settle for any job, even one far below his qualifications. Maybe chasing equality was a dream too big. But then, he remembered the faces of his parents, the struggles of his ancestors, the long fight for civil rights. He realized that giving up was not an option. His life was not just about him. It was about everyone who came before him and everyone who would come after him. He stood up that night with a new kind of strength. Yes, he was rejected because he was black. Yes, he faced racism and prejudice, but he also knew that his story was not over. For every door that closed, he would find another one to knock on. For every rejection, he would come back stronger. Because equality is not given, it is fought for. And though the struggle is long, he was ready to keep fighting. The story of this young man is not just his story. It is the story of countless others who face the same discrimination every day. People who are told they are not good enough, not because of what they can or cannot do, but because of how they look. It is the story of America's unfinished journey toward equality. To anyone listening, remember this: talent has no color, dreams have no race, and potential has no skin tone. When we judge someone by their appearance instead of their abilities, we rob not only them of opportunities, but we rob the world of progress. Racism does not just hurt individuals, it hurts humanity as a whole. The young man's journey continues. He still faces challenges, but he carries hope in his heart. He believes that one day the world will change, that people will look at each other as equals, that his children will not face the same barriers he faced. Until then, he keeps moving forward, step by step, rejection after rejection, with the belief that his struggle is not in vain. Rejected because he is black, but never defeated. His true struggle for equality continues.